Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your humble host, Ed Hale. I got to get my microphone set here. And I guess I finally got it set. Anyway, we got a very special guest this evening. One of the favorites here at Plains Radio Network. Y'all keep calling me and say, get Bob back on, get Bob back on. Well, here he is, Mr. Bob Chapman. Are you with me, Bob?
I am. Had a little trouble there. I think we got a little cutting out.
Okay. Well, let me do a little checking here. Anyway, I'll do some adjusting, and maybe that'll take care of it. Do you hear me all right now, Bob?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I had wound it up a little bit tight last night on the hybrids because we had a low collar. Bob, what's going on in the world today?
Well, we got a man who's, I guess, supposedly going to jail for life for stealing, for what I understand now, is $150 billion, and that's a lot of money.
Well, you know, Bob, they could give me $1 billion and I'd be happy.
Well, I know, but, would you like to do 8 years for it? That's the point.
Well, 8 years for $1 billion? You better believe it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. That way I'd leave Karen a rich widow.
Well, there you go. Anyway, that's symptomatic of Wall Street and what Wall Street is all about. And I spent 28 years on Wall Street. I own my own brokerage firm for a time. And so I know what to expect from these people. Needless to say, I was not very popular when I was on Wall Street, being that I specialized in gold and silver assets. And so consequently, we're reaping the corruption and fraud that is so rife in our society today, especially on Wall Street and banking and the Federal Reserve and in our government. And so one of the disturbing things as well is this man, Madoff, was allowed to live in his own apartment and for some time, and now he's made a plea of guilty to protect everybody else who is in on this with him. And we've been told that there's a number of many important people involved. And where did all the money go? And
that is a good question, Bob.
It's another phony baloney deal. Well,
it seems that we have plenty of those phony baloney deals. I'll tell you what, you said, I guess it was probably 4 or 6 weeks ago you were on here. Stock market was pumping. Dow was around 8,500. I believe close to 9,000. And you said it's going to go down. What did it close at today, Bob?
Well, it was around 7,100, but it's been down lower since then, and it's going to probably stop going up here around 7,200.
And then she'll
back down and visit 6,500 on the Dow.
Yeah. Well, how far down do you think it's really going to? You still figuring 3,500, 4,000?
Yeah, I think that's doable.
Well, I'll tell you what. I took your advice, me and Karen. We ain't got a lot, but I found an excellent place on the net to get gold and silver coins, and they're really pretty inexpensive. We're buying the silver coins for like $17 plus the shipping, and that's a 1 ounce of pure silver. And I have been buying a little bit of gold and silver, Bob. I don't know what I'm going to do with it if this thing don't collapse. Can you tell me if it collapses what it'll be good for?
Yeah, barter.
That's because Karen, she's listening. She asked me last night. She asked me last night. She said, "Well, how can you spend this stuff if everything goes to pot?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm going to ask Bob."
Well, that's how you spend it. You're dealing in what is called real money. There's nothing owed on gold and silver that you own. So what you have is the ultimate currency. And so just to give you an example, if we have a situation like we had in the 1930s, which I think we're going to, we're into. I think that we can see things go down 60 to 95% like they did then. And what's going to come next is the gold will hold its own, or maybe even go up in value.
Yeah.
And so it's a wealth preservation device. It's there to save what you've got.
Well, what I'm basically buying it for is like I told Karen. I said, you know, we have a farm. We can always move to that farm, and we can raise our own vegetables. We have cattle, our hogs and everything, and chickens. We can be self-sufficient. The only thing that I see that we would need would be fuel. And that, I told her, was the reason why I was buying this gold and silver, so that I could buy diesel fuel for my tractors in order to plow the ground and you know, raise the garden and the hay grader and stuff for the cattle. Do you think that's a good idea or what?
That's ideal. The problem is that only 1% of the populace shares what you do and having a farm. And so most of the message is for people who live in towns and cities and metropolises here in America and throughout the world. And they get a whole different story.
Yeah.
Anytime they ever saw a tractor was in a magazine.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you know, I just...
We get a lot of people out there that we're addressing, but what you available to you is perfect.
Well, I just got to thinking about it, you know. I can do everything out there, you know. We can have our seeds, we can do what we got to do and all that. But when I run out of fuel, I got no way to plow that ground. And then I got to thinking, well, why not buy some gold and silver and have it there? I'm sure, you know, that you could probably exchange it for diesel fuel.
Well, I think the best thing for you to do is to put in a diesel tank and also a generator and fill the tank up, and then you'll have a backup. And as the price of gold and silver go up, you accumulate more diesel.
I hear you. Well, I'll tell you what. Farm diesel right now is like right around $1.50 a gallon. I have the capacity of 800 gallons, which 800 gallons is a 1 year supply of diesel for me and my farm. Do you suggest that I just go ahead and purchase 800 gallons and sit there on it?
Well, I think the only question I have as a novice is there shelf life on diesel?
Well, you know, it'll hold for a year easily. I mean, I've had...
Well, I think you might fill half of it up and wait.
Okay. Because I was thinking about, I got one tank that holds 660 gallons. I was thinking about going ahead and filling it up because I would use it probably by by September or October. It would be gone. And, of course, I've had diesel in these tanks for a year, actually a year and a half, and still been able to use the diesel.
Well, then I would just, fill them up and roll them. Just refill them each time, and it's not going to hurt anything.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that, because, last year, that blame diesel was bringing over $4, farm diesel, which it doesn't have any tax on it, was bringing almost $3.85 a gallon, and it's $1.50 a gallon now. I think just right there in savings of, say, roughly 800 gallons. I got the capacity of 795 gallons. And if I did that, the savings there would be tremendous because you and I both know that this dang fuel's going to go back up, isn't it?
Well, I think it will. How far, I don't know, but, you're going to save $2.30 a gallon off the old high price. And how many gallons you talking about?
Probably about 800 gallons. That's what I normally use in about a year is between 700 and 800 gallons.
You save a lot of money.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been thinking about it. 800 gallons at $1.50 is only $1,200 last year. It'd cost me almost over $3,000.
That's right.
So anyway, that's kind of our plan, and then we'd have this gold and silver as a backup, if we needed if we needed something we couldn't be self-sufficient on, and fuel is one of those things. And so I just, I've heeded your advice, my friend, because I can see the writing on the wall, and I think everybody listening is saying the same thing.
Well, I hope they act, and I hope they're able to act as well. A lot of people aren't as fortunate as we, and they don't have the money to get the kind of things that are necessary to carry them. But, apart from being in the farming business, for those who are not, what you should do is make sure you have freeze-dried and dehydrated foods.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to do. We're going to buy us a dehydrator. We're also going to buy us